Part of our job, we watch all the games and we watch all the talk shows. You know, a lot of these people on television, they're cowards because they want the players to like them. They don't want to do their job, which is to tell the truth. And I just want to say this about coaching. Anybody who thinks the reason the Lakers suck is because of Darvin Ham or the reason the Suns suck is because of Frank Vogel, you don't know what you're talking about. Frank Vogel is a hell of a coach. Darvin Ham is a hell of a coach trying to get his career started. But for all you punks, idiots, and jackasses on other networks who want to be media and who want all the players to like y'all, do your damn job. The Lakers suck and the Suns sucks because of the players. Has nothing to do with the coaches. I feel better now.
Sure, I can tell. Looks like you are getting that off your chest.
I did. I hate it, man. You sit there like Darvin
cathartic
Ham needs to get fired. Frank Vogel needs to get fired. Who put them teams together? Them trash-ass teams put together need to get fired. Them guys, they didn't just all of a sudden suck as coaches. People who put them teams together they start packing up their stuff.
Welcome in Thursday, May 2nd, here on the King's Court. Ryan in Sacktown with you. Hopefully you caught the shoot around earlier this morning on the recorded King's Court. That being said, we got a full show for you. Ton of content. That was Charles Barkley at the top. He was on last night on Inside the NBA. And the reason I played that is it's relevant. We had this conversation yesterday. You guys were asking, you guys and gals, many questions that we don't know the answer to. And I'm not, again, calling out the Sacramento media. It's media as a whole. It's just, it's a delicate dance that we've talked about. But more important than that, we've talked about coaching stars and how different that is. You guys remember Jerry Reynolds was here earlier in the week on Tuesday. And I asked him, I said, what's the difference? Where's the nuance when you coach a guy like LeBron, a guy like KD? And he explained it beautifully. In fact, here is Jerry from Tuesday.
We'll say, yeah, I think it's really a key to being a great coach is dealing with the true superstars. And I know all those guys were tough to deal with. There were a lot of behind the scenes issues. I know with Jackson took a while to get Michael to understand that even though he could score 35, 37 points a game, he didn't need to. The team was better if he scored less. Yeah. And certainly some issues with Kobe and Shaq, of course.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, but I don't think that's unusual. I know that Bird had some issues with Bill Fitch as a coach and a few things. But, that's what coaches have to do is understand, okay, these guys are, like Bill Russell told me one time, he said, guys like me said, we're hard to coach. He said,
hard to coach. There you go. So some of the stars notice it, some of them don't. But what are your thoughts on that? We can talk about that a little bit more. Like I said, it's a delicate dance. Thank you so much, Steely Beats. Glad you love the show. We're getting a lot of good feedback about this. And if there's things you don't like about the show, put them in the chat. I don't care. I mean, as long as you're respectful, if you break the bro codes and you're not respectful, then I'm going to run you. And yes, I have sound drops, so I can run you. Or sound drops. What's up, Flores? Man, that TNT show is great. Yeah, Chuck, they're the best. And in fact, I'm glad you brought that up, Flores. By the way, you guys can call the show. You know that the number or the link is in the chat. You don't have to be on camera to call. Also, you can scan the QR code above my shoulder really quick. Let's set the table. Grant and I will be back at 8 o'clock tonight. We're looking forward to that. Open forums. You can bring your questions. But as I said at the top, we've got tons of content in Flores. That's actually part of it. With the new Amazon Prime deal in the NBA, what's that mean for Inside the NBA and TNT? I guess I know NBC is going to be fired up with basketball too, and you get Chirico and Noah Eagle, etc. But does it change things? I mean, for me, it's the end of the great studio shows if that show goes away. And even if you put those guys somewhere else, it's not going to work. It won't be the same. You'll have different producers, yada, yada, yada. That show is gold, Flores. It's one of my favorites. It's one that is definitely worth staying up because you can tell the chemistry and the camaraderie between guys, especially on that set. They come at each other really, really hard, but they love each other even harder. And that's what I love about it personally. But we can talk about that because regional sport networks, that's going to be a big deal coming up. Adam Silver has hinted at the fact that the NBA is going to be changing things up drastically. And what's that mean for you as a Kings fan? Are you going to have NBC Sports California anymore? Are you going to have to get a subscription where it's kind of not buffet style, but it's a la carte where you can pick the Kings, you can pick whichever teams you want? How is all that going to work? We're still waiting for that to roll out. We also have some news about the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers tonight. If you didn't hear about this, the owner of the 76ers bought 2,000 tickets to this game to make sure that they kept the New York fans out. I've got some audio. I want to talk about that. And my take might be a little bit different than what you're thinking. We've got two articles from The Athletic about the Kings. One about specifically the Kings. The other is about some of the teams. You remember I told you the Bulls a few weeks back? I think they're in a similar situation. It details that. So I want to go through that as well. Tiger Woods getting an exemption on the PGA Tour to play in the U.S. Open. What's that mean? We had Tiger yesterday. In fact, Tiger, we've got you. Hold on really quick, guys. Is Tiger ready? Okay, cool. We have Tiger on location, on the course, actually. Tiger, how you doing today? How are you hitting it?
Golf course looks good. My golf swing feel looks good. I like my chance.
Huh. I feel like I've heard that before somewhere. Have you? Anyways, we've also got the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. Dame Lillard upgraded from doubtful to questionable. Giannis is still going to be doubtful. So what happens there? Do the Pacers close the series out? And I'm just cracking the surface. I could go an hour and a half. I want to get all of you in on the conversation. What's up, Baki? Dora right there.
Holy
too.
moly, Jimbaboli.
You're watching that show from the 1992-93. Which show was it? Inside the NBA still? I should know that, but was it? Also, yesterday we got some comments about baseball. Some of you were surprised that, yeah, we can talk a little baseball. There's some news leaking out about pricing and what it might look like at Sutter Health Park when the A's take over that stadium or share that stadium with the Rivercats. Thanks, Baki. TNT. Absolutely. Excellent. And if you've been watching all this week, there's been a certain somebody that has not been able to get out of his own way. And somehow he has ended up as a topic of conversation on this show. As of right now, I have no content planned for that person. I think they saw yesterday's episode, so we're good. So a lot to go with. You all can change the conversation as well if you would like to. I'm happy to hit anything you want to hit. NFL draft. I talked on the recorded podcast, 49er fan. What are you guys thinking? Brandon Ayuk, Debo. Is it going to be a trade? Are they sticking around? I mean, to me, and I'm not Niner fan, but I think that that's kind of a big deal for what all of you do. So, and again, 8 o'clock tonight, Napes and I will be back here. Yeah, I love it. I love it, Baki. Jim Bob went to bed. What time is it there right now, Baki? It's probably what? Like 9, 10 o'clock there? Because it's usually like right now, maybe a little bit later. Baki, do you ever sleep? Like, seriously, do you ever sleep? I respect the grind, dude. I respect it. I do the same grind. I'm up at 3:30 in the morning. But yeah, it's 23:10. We're getting military time. So it is you're right before midnight. There you go. 11. Thanks for setting me up there, Baki. Appreciate it. So where do you want to go? where do you want to go? I think we put the media conversation on the back burner. We've kind of hit it a little bit. We heard from Jerry, we heard from Chuck and the boys at TNT. Let's talk about tonight and the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, one thing that we didn't talk about, this broke after the Kings Court yesterday, the live edition, the NBA 2-minute report came out, and that shot by Tyrese Maxey, guess what? He traveled. The 4-point play, he traveled. I didn't catch it in real time. The broadcast didn't catch it in real time, but the 2-minute report sure as hell caught it in real time. No, they caught it after the fact. So again, a topic of conversation we've had here, and Kings fans know it all too well. The Kings, they were in the 2-minute report 3 times in their last 6 regular season games. Now, I don't blame the NBA for that. I blame the Kings for that. And it's for this reason. The Kings should have handled business earlier in the season. If they handled business, because you can almost bet with an NBA season, it's a safe bet to say, you're probably going to have a couple games that you lose because of this. You're going to have a couple schedule games that you're going to lose. The first game back from a long road trip, probably going to lose that one. That's all built in, but what's not built in is losses to the Hornets, to the Pistons, to the Trailblazers. None of that's built in. 6 losses to the Pelicans, not built in. So the fact that the Kings needed those games so badly, and let's not even talk about the last Phoenix game. Let's go back to the Phoenix game before that, where Sacramento arguably played one of their best games of the season for about 40 minutes. And then 8 minutes left in the game, the wheels come off the wagon, and Kings fans are like, what the hell just happened? So they put themselves in that position. Exactly. Play the game, not the refs. I love it, Flores. We saw way, way too much playing the refs. And you know what's ironic about that? Malik Monk, to me, is one of the best guys in the NBA at corresponding with the officials. He does it the right way. He doesn't do it out of anger. I just don't get why other guys around him are doing it the opposite way. De'Aaron does it a different way, which is fine. Everybody's different. But here's the problem I have. When you have De'Aaron doing it, we saw many times this season that when De'Aaron got a technical foul and kind of towed that line, was barking at refs, almost inevitably another Sacramento King, and not a starter, a bench player, somebody that's a role player only playing 12, 15 minutes, they get teed up. I mean, I can think of Chris Duarte right off the top of my head. I think Colby Jones. It wasn't Colby. It was Keon. I think it was Keon. He got one. So you get my point. Like, why are you not doing it the right way? Why are you doing it the wrong way? But anyways, yes, the refs are taking up too much real estate, and I don't know. And I've been a big proponent of the Sacramento Kings trying to, if I had to choose between the style we saw last year and the style we saw this year, I'm taking the style we saw at the end of the season this year, because you're seeing it translates into the playoffs. It translates to every team that you play. With the exception of the Pelicans, they were a problem, but most teams, and teams that specialized in that, the Kings played at their level. You remember that first game here in Sacramento against New York? It was a slugfest. It was just left, right, low scoring, first team to 100 points. That, I think, is how Mike Brown wants to play. But you also have to remember that type of play is dependent on the officials. The officials have let teams play towards the end of the season and clearly through the postseason thus far. And for some series, it's worked out. For some, it hasn't. But you've had an NBA that has officiated the game 2 separate ways. I mean, to us, clearly 2 separate ways. So what's it going to be next year? What if they're not officiating that way? So I guess the Kings can't just put their eggs in one basket, and it does have to be in the middle with offense and defense. John, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Hope you're having a good one, my friend. Get in here, y'all, on the comments. I'm trying to get up as many as I can right now. Refs are just doing their job. Well, you are a ref, Baki. Sorry to blow your cover. Baki's a zebra. But he doesn't wear the zebra stripes. Let's see if anybody can figure that out. He's a zebra that doesn't wear the zebra stripes. See who's the first one to get it. So let's get back to tonight. The Knicks and the 76ers. I mentioned at the top of the show that the owner, originally it was 66 tickets, and now it's reported to be 2,000 tickets that he purchased tonight. So New York fan would not take over the building. And quite frankly, I don't think 2,000 tickets is going to do it. If New York fan wants to get in that building, they're going to get in that building. And even if you take a 2,000 fan contingency away from that, New York fan, based off of what we saw the last Philly homestand or their 2 games of this first round series at home, it's inevitable. So how does Philly clap back? What are the Philly fans going to do tonight? And Philly fan, I'm confused by you right now. But as I said, the 2-minute report showed that Maxey traveled. He did. It was very clear. We go to Boomer and Geo this morning, courtesy of CBS Sports Network.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you get the news yesterday with the Tyrese Maxey 4-point play, and the NBA missed, and the officials missed the call, and the NBA comes out and admitted that they missed the call, which is exactly what they did at the end of game 2 with the 2 fouls and everything else. So you could say that stuff evened out. I just don't understand. I mean, the point of this is fine, meaning that the NBA wants to be transparent, say, hey, we made a mistake, accountability here. But all it does is shine a light on the ineptitude of the officials and piss off teams and fan bases even more.
I want to stop it right there. The reason I want to stop it is because of the word that he said, ineptitude. Ineptitude. He's right. It's a traveling call. We're not talking about a marginal foul in the lane. We're not talking about something that could have gone either way. We're talking about a freaking traveling call. I just don't know how that's missed. You've got 3 referees in the half court. I understand that play with De'Aaron where he thought he was fouled by Bradley Beal. He was adamant after the game. Well, he was not fouled, right? Well, here's the thing. I can understand a correction there. There was actually on that 2-minute report, the only play that the refs got wrong was a traveling call they called on Keegan. It wasn't actually traveling. So it brings up a good point, and it's something that we have crossed here on the Kings Court a few times since we've started going live every day at 2 o'clock. It's what are the changes to officiating going to look like? What's that crossroads going to be? How is it going to get fixed? You can't micromanage the game, right? I mean, we talked about football last week with the Guardian caps. Now, Roger Goodell says football's going to try to ref the contact, I don't want to put words in his mouth, ref certain things out of the game if they have to. Well, how many more things can you ref out of the game? Basketball is not there yet, but basketball is in a different situation because football, you can say, okay, we're going to control some of the physicality. That's the dirty stuff. That's the stuff after the whistle. That's the shoves after the ball's released. That's not a style of play, right? And for the Kings, for the Knicks, for many other teams, they're hanging their hat on that right now. But again, it's something that can change year to year. So what changes do you want to see to the officiating? I think the first change that we absolutely have to see is the way that challenges are handled. I think that coaches being penalized, because that's what the system does. You're penalizing a coach for taking a challenge early in the game because you lose a challenge. I mean, the way I see it, you should always have a challenge unless you've lost. If you keep winning your challenges, you keep your challenges. And it's really interesting. I don't know if any of you have watched one of the it's the UFL or it's the UFL and the XFL came together. They have a season going on. Forgive me, I don't follow it. I follow the Kings and the other major sports, but I did catch the tail end of one game this last weekend, and they had a super challenge. So check this out. The super challenge is you can challenge anything, literally anything. And I think the call that he challenged a holding, he thought it was a holding call. It was not a holding call, but you can make the refs go back and look at something like that. I think the NBA officials need to be good enough to be able to make those calls without having the safety net of a super challenge. But are we getting there? It feels like we're kind of getting there. And the problem with the NBA, again, I'm going to go back to this. It's not so much the officials and most of the calls, it's the obvious calls that the officials are missing. Is there too many points of emphasis? You know, every game, there's different points or coming into the season, different points of emphasis that the refs are looking at. And I just don't know when we get to a point, because the NBA officials, they are great officials, great officials. It's just these players keep getting stronger, bigger, faster. The game keeps changing. Think about if you were a referee 20 years ago, and there's certainly refs that are tenured that long. We'll go back further, 25, 30 years. You have now refereed two completely different styles of basketball. In fact, could you imagine if the Jordan Bulls met the Curry Warriors? What would that look like? How would that game shake out? Who would determine how the game's played? I mean, in the back of my head, I'm thinking Jordan. That guy's pretty competitive, but it's one of those what ifs. How would you ref that thing? And I think the refs are reffing on the fly. So consistency becomes the thing that you have to look at. And when I say consistency, if somebody is doing something, you can't give them leeway, whether it's the first quarter or the fourth quarter. I'm going to use a really lazy example here. Carrying the basketball. How many NBA players are carrying the basketball all the time and it's never called? But then you see rookies come in. I think this happened to Colby, actually. It did happen to Colby. And they get called for carry every once in a while. You've seen some stars called for it here and there. But to me, again, that is one of those selective calls based off of your tenure in the league. Can we throw these old things out the window and realize it's a different time and a different NBA? And I think the NBA is at a crucial point. I said this earlier this week. If the NBA wants to fix this problem, it begins right now with training the officials they have in the G League. It begins training them in advance. Find out what these guys that are reffing, what is their goals? Do they want to ref in the NBA if they're reffing a high school game or a college game? Is that something they see in their future that they're working to? If it is, start working with them years before they get to the NBA. I know that's what the G League does, but every ref, and remember, if you're a younger referee, it's not like you're running a crew, you're getting put on somebody's crew. So you're third on. I get everybody has the same power, but let's be real. If you're the head official, you're going to have a little bit more say than the rest of the guys. You're going to have the final word. So how does the NBA try to cut some of that stuff out? The unwritten rules. The unwritten rules are aging about as well right now as the center position and the running back position in football. Not aging well at all. So getting back to tonight's game, I told you that the Philadelphia 76ers owner bought 2,000 tickets to keep Knicks fan out of the building tonight. Back to Boomer and Gio earlier today on CBS Sports Radio.
We're like Taylor Swift. We want to make sure we take care of our fans.
Yes, that is true.
We don't want to be gouging anybody.
And we do have news on that, by the way, taking care of our fans.
What, Taylor Swift?
No, not Taylor Swift news. White Eagle Hall contacted us and said that there might be some more room. They might be clearing some more room out for some more people because of all the requests they have gotten. So, yeah. So Howard Eskin says that the Sixers themselves are putting up the tickets for sale, so Knicks fans would pay big bucks for them. And he said, quote, if Sixers players are pissed, blame your own organization. But then again, here they are, Ruben and Josh Harris and the ownership group down there in Philadelphia has now bought up 2,000 tickets to distribute to first responders and others, which is a nice PR move. But really, it's just them running scared. Running scared.
So I'm just wondering, how do they distribute those tickets? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you get those tickets into the hands of actual Philadelphia 76ers fans that who in turn won't sell them themselves?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know, but I'm sure that there is a way. I don't know. Maybe they go into a firehouse and start handing them out or going to the hospital? Hey,
Not a very well thought out plan. That would be fairly tricky, because just because you live in Philadelphia doesn't mean you're a Sixers fan. You are right up the road, I-95 away. It's the battle for I-95 if you're familiar with the East Coast. So my problem here isn't with the Sixers. It's not. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to defend your home court, especially if it's getting in the head of your players. My problem here is with Sixer fan. Why the hell is there 2,000 tickets available for what is the best playoff game, best playoff series going? This is a rivalry. Can you imagine 2,000 tickets being available for a Kings Warriors game? Or even a Kings Lakers game back in 2001, 2002? Forget about it. It's not happening. So where the hell are you at, Sixer fan? In fact, Sixer fan, you deserve to be the minority tonight in that building. Don't sit here and be bent about New York fan coming over and basically taking over your crib, cracking open one of your beers, sitting on your couch. No, check that. Sitting on your recliner where you only sit and having your wife serve them dinner while they watch the game. I mean, you're setting it up for them. So I don't want to hear a peep about how belligerent New York fan is. I don't want to hear a peep about how it's affecting the product on the court. Nothing. Buy a ticket. Go to the game. I don't get it. And if you say it's financial, then I can't speak to that. If they are priced out of the market, that's something every fan base is dealing with. Many people, when the Kings switched from G1 or from Arco, to me, the best arena in the world, besides MSG, but Arco to G1C, some people were priced out. 49ers fans, I know this specifically because I have a friend that this happened to. When they went over to Levi's, before that, they had season tickets for, I believe, 20 or 30 years, and they were not able to afford even what would be equivalent to their same seat in the top row. They couldn't even afford that. So it's expensive to go to games. There's no doubt about that. But I'm kind of getting tired of this. I'm kind of getting tired of the Sixers stuff and the Sixers fans just making a big deal about it. Just give your tickets to New York fans then. Just do it. Hey, I told you guys can call. We the man who's still up. Baki, what's up? Welcome to the King's Court.
So what's so strange? Hi.
What's up, buddy? Happy Thursday.
Thanks. This is my extra edition out of NBA playoffs because I'm not gonna watch it. I said it. I'm doing it, and it's not gonna stay under the radar.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? You're a man of your word. I respect that.
Okay. Right now, first thing you should know, and trust me, I'm the one to tell you that the rules in U.S. sports are and refereeing is way better, and we from Europe can say even perfect. If you compare that with the sport in Europe, so let's start with the urge to have it honest refereeing. Then you have full quality cameras, plus you have a lot of them. So in Europe, they are only using slow-mos with HD, and you're man from the IT, so you should know. In USA, they are going with Ultra HD plus super slow-mo, plus they have a lot of cameras. So it's a big difference. And I'm not going to tell you anything about other sports because it's a big difference. So you guys are lucky. Trust me.
No, Baki, I acknowledge that. And that's why I say the officials are great at what they do. I just think you ever been in a job where you're kind of stuck in the middle where you can't really say anything, but you like what you do and you keep doing it? I kind of think the officials in some ways are at that, because here's the thing. Why the hell do you have to go to Secaucus to talk to somebody on a headset when you have an official right there in the building who is reffing the game? Why can't he just look at the monitor and be done with it?
I did some I don't know if you know what are satellite feeds, but I caught the Secaucus sometimes, and I saw how they are managing one game. So
Mhm.
they're using Secaucus only to speak with the referees what kind of rule they should apply in that
Right.
moment. So even Secaucus can help a lot of in other situations, because you have something that referees have missed on the game, on the floor, and you can use it from Secaucus. But I don't know, they will never have that rule to have unlimited amount of challenges, because that would put the game on a 4-hour stretch or something like that. So I don't think so. I don't believe it.
Well, theoretically, it's not unlimited challenges, though. It would be kind of the
No, but
same.
you said they should. I mean, they will. I'm 100%. They will change something about timeouts plus those challenges, but I don't think they can put you on a situation you have unlimited. I mean, you said a few minutes ago, if you win the challenge, you're gonna challenge again.
You
So
get to keep it. Yeah.
that means you're gonna challenge everything. So right now, what we're gonna have? We're gonna have a challenge every 2 minutes, every minute.
Baki,
So
I don't think it changes the strategy one bit. I think it protects the officials and it protects the integrity of the game, because you're not
of course
sitting.
it's gonna be honest, but look at the players. How many players are now pointing to referees in every call? Sometimes we had Tim Duncan, remember?
Yeah.
And Tim Duncan's the only one who participate in that kind of funny business with the referees. But now you have every freaking player. So every freaking player is now complaining about everything, about
It
every.
You're
So
right, Baki.
that's the big problem. I mean, I'm disgusted with the game when I see every player complaining about every single call. I mean,
Yes.
this is nothing about basketball anymore, nothing about refereeing. I'm the referee myself, from
Yeah.
tennis.
Yep.
You and Grant, So I don't like it. I don't like it.
So here's my thing, Baki. And I think that is a huge part of what I'm saying, because the challenge that you're talking about, slowing the game down, and I want to go back one step too. I'm in full agreement with you, but coaches aren't going to approach the challenges any different, because if they're wrong one time, then they lose their challenges for the rest of the game. They have none. You have to know you're right. And so, I mean, sure, you're going to have the situation where somebody still has a challenge and they're like, hey, you know what? We might as well use it. Sure, that will happen from time to time, but the game's probably already out of hand at that point. But I think you hit on a really good thing, because anybody that says challenges, and you pointed it out perfectly, are slowing down the game, they're not slowing down the game as much as the players talking to the officials. And the refs will sometimes just sit there and stop, hold the game. Why aren't you giving them the ball to go? Right. And I think that's something, and I don't know how the
Just
NBA addresses it, but they've got to change that.
Do you think when players are complaining about the every call, or
Holy
okay,
moly,
let's say,
peanut bowling. I can't believe this.
okay, Vladimir.
What's
I don't think we are losing the time on the players complaining, because referees are strict. They are going to the table and doing their stuff about fouls and about everything. But I think they're gonna change something about those timeouts and challenges. I don't know why, but I like NBA always implement something into the game about refereeing. So I'm positive they're gonna think something up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I mean, even this last offseason, when they did the whole 65 game rule, I'm thinking that ain't going to work. It worked, but it was in collaboration with some other stuff. And I think also guys were just healthier this year. So who knows? There's things that are at their disposal, but isn't it kind of time to either do it or get off the pot?
Well,
Maybe.
I don't know.
No. I think maybe. I don't know.
Maybe you don't know. You're the voice of reason. I love it. I love it. Hey, thank you
Thank you.
both for the call. I appreciate it. Hey, you should be in bed. Get in bed.
Yeah, she's ready.
All right.
I
Later,
wake up
Baki.
because I don't know. I don't want to sleep, and I just come here and I
Okay,
saw him.
you heard
talking.
Rhino. You heard Rhino. Okay.
No, it's hey, you know what? I love it. I love that you guys call together. It
Just keep
literally
your-
is awesome.
Keep your show 10 years, and we're gonna have #1 female Sacramento Kings fan.
Ooh. Well, I will. I'll write that down on the 10-year plan. Let's do it. You got to keep your word though.
Yeah. No
All
problem.
right. Thanks, guys. So thank you so much for the call. Send you out with one
Holy
of these,
moly,
of
Jim
course.
Bowley.
Very good. Good stuff from Baki. Yeah, I see what he's saying, but there's too much where I'm fine with a player just, saying something to the official really quick. And if a player wants to say something to the officials while the game's going on, that's on the player, right? You're only hurting your own team. You can take that up with your coach and your teammates, but the long conversations, there's been too much of the leash is not consistent. The consistency of the leash, and I get certain guys, your Draymond Greens, your habitual offenders, their leash needs to be shorter, but there needs to be some type of code, delay a game. That's why the NBA has delay a game, right? Maybe it becomes that more often. I don't know what it is. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. This New York Knicks game tonight, I want to hit this really quick, Condog, then I will come to you. I want to just finish my take here because New York, we said it yesterday. This game is so important to them, win or lose. If they're blown out tonight, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a huge problem. So I expect the Knicks to come out with a chip on their shoulder. I also expect Embiid. Shaq said something really interesting a couple of nights ago, and it's kind of those inner dynamics between star players and teammates, etc. But he had kind of mentioned something that had happened with him and Kobe, and, I had a bad game, and so, I told him, I got you next game. And it's one of those things. It's a respect factor, and he's pretty darn convinced Embiid's going to come out and have one tonight. We'll see. But what I do know, and I said this last night, oh boy, was I wrong. The Clippers game in Dallas, I'm like, if you're going to watch one game, watch that. The good thing, the Clippers are moving into a new building with more toilets than any other arena in the NBA because they have got a lot of crap to clean up off that floor at Crypto.com arena last night. It was awful. Condog, what's up? Welcome into the King's Court.
Oh, what's up, Ryan? And I brought back the Arcos since you mentioned the best arena in the world.
Hey, what about the couple? I'm putting you full screen right now because I love the couple that are like right there. You see him? Isn't that life goals? Like, I would love to walk up to Arco with my wife like that. What do you think? 75, 80?
They look about Jerry's age.
Yeah, and Jerry looks great. So there you go. Thanks for the background, buddy. What's going on today?
I actually want to talk about Kevin Durant's legacy.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
Honestly, every time there's adversity, it seems he's out the door. Whether it was the OKC thing, whether, he didn't like Sam Presti or whatever, but, they blew a 3-1 lead and he goes to Golden State, gets 2 of the easiest rings possible you could have gotten. Like, they're legit champions, but we also have to admit those were probably the most give me championships I've out there.
They were competing pretty hard against the Cavs.
They destroyed the Cavs.
But they had some. I know what you're saying.
They destroyed them.
But Condog, when you're at that level, when you're a super team, every team is shooting for you, and the Kings got a little bit of that last season towards the end of the season.
For sure, but I mean, again, and then the minute he's like, Draymond Green tells, we don't need you, and then he cries off and goes to Brooklyn with his buddy Kyrie, and now it's Ben Simmons' fault, so we get Harden, and
right.
And now we're going to Phoenix, and now Bradley Beal can't get traded. He's got a no trade clause. If he don't want to get traded, he don't want to get traded, and it just makes Kevin Durant to me like. like obviously when he's at his A game, like he's in KD mode, he's one of the hardest players to guard because he's so long and he can just start sinking buckets.
Yeah.
But there's few and far of those in between as of lately. Like he's had a time to take over a game, and I see a comment here: top 10 all-time player. No way. And just no, not even close. If you think KD's a top 10, who are you going to put him above? You're not putting him above Kobe.
Hey, Condog, you host the show. Go.
All right. Again, Run DMG. Who would you put him over if he's a top 10 player? I would not put him over Kobe. I'm not putting him over MJ. I'm not putting him over Bird, Magic, Kareem, Wilt, Shaq, Duncan, Hakeem. Like, who are you going to put him above? I'm not even putting him above Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the heart and soul of those Warriors. He's the 2-time league MVP.
You can't put him above Steph Curry.
And he won before and after Durant. Durant
You can't.
only won with.
Let me hop in really quick. You can't put him above Steph Curry. There's no way you can. And for this simple reason, Steph Curry changed 2 positions in the NBA, and he only played one of them. He changed the point guard and the center position. And KD, I know he's not a center, but he was kind of one of those first longer, taller guys to play on the perimeter in this era, right? When he came out of college from Texas.
What? Okay, Run DMG again. If Curry had help, how did Durant not have help? KD had the same roster as Curry when he won. The same roster.
I'm just talking about Curry over.
Oh,
Durant.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's all.
I'm looking at the comments, so I'm just
okay.
Yeah, because he said Curry had so much help. Well, KD's had, if not more help, because he's also had Westbrook, Harden, Kyrie, Simmons, Harden again, Booker, Beal. He's had top. You know, he's had a great career, fantastic player.
Connor, you're popping the chat right now, dude. Is this what
I
we're
guess
supposed to
everyone
be
wants to
doing?
talk about KD.
KD, huh? Is it because everybody wants him to come to Sacramento?
I mean, honestly, KD, one of the best. Just if you want to plug him in, perfect to plug in. He's just get him a nice open shot on the corner or up at the top, and he's gonna sink it. He would actually fit great in our offense.
You know why I don't think he would fit great in our offense?
Okay,
because we see Keegan Murray disappear. We see Kevin Huerter disappear. We see Harrison Barnes disappear. Now, if that was LeBron coming into that offense, that LeBron would never disappear. I could see KD blending in and not having as much of an impact as you think.
You know what? That's fair. But then I think Kevin Durant just gonna, on a more consistent basis, obviously make more free throws, which would help a lot. And then I think just him being taller than like a Kevin Huerter or even a Harrison Barnes, he's just harder to guard.
Yeah.
But I would say, I think people were ready to, after those 2 titles, to put him, top 15, reaching towards, top 10. Like him and Curry were about top 15-ish, I think, about at that point. And I think Curry stayed the ship because he won after, and, he's moved. I would put it. Curry, I have to go deeper into that where exactly I rank him, but I would put him somewhere in the 8 to 12 range.
Okay. I'm not going to give my rankings.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to give my rankings.
Yeah,
it looks like you're ready.
That's not set in stone. But KD, I feel like he's had lots of help in his past, his future, and probably his current predicament, and he just hasn't been able to just take over and be that top dot guy that he's paid to be, that he's supposed to be, that he has been. He just hasn't, he hasn't been that guy. If you're that guy and you got that much help, you've got to, do that. And like that, if you're gonna be that dog,
I feel you bring up some good points. You do. We'll have to debate this another time, especially when this could become a relevant debate. Not in terms of is Sacramento a good fit? Could he come here? But Phoenix is probably going to blow that thing up. Or at least I would to a degree.
Bradley Beal dictates it.
But okay, that was if you look at everything Phoenix did, that was the worst move of them all.
Yeah, no. I did not see a reason to bring another shooting guard in when you have Booker and KD. That was just pure star power for star power's sake, and that's just not how you actually build a proper championship team. You like if you look at a team that was built. Let's go to the 08 Celtics. They were built off of star power, but they were built off of need. Okay, Paul Pierce, a wing. Okay,
Yeah.
let's get a sharpshooter in Ray
Right.
Allen, and let's get a two-way defensive player in Kevin Garnett. They complemented each other, and then they got a pass first point guard in Rajon Rondo.
Yeah. It was a perfect storm. It really was. And they were all coming together towards the end of their careers. They were driven a certain way. Yeah. It was I get what you're saying. And that in many ways, that was the first team that kind of came together.
Yeah, that was definitely in the modern era, just built like that. Like, okay, we've tried on our own. Kobe's beaten us too many times.
Yeah.
Duncan's beaten us too many times. We want a shot.
Yeah, I don't know how Boston was able to pull it off this year. They did. I think Boston's in that category, even though they're not. I don't think they're playing their best basketball. They won handily last night, but,
But we all know that the Heat were on an arm and a leg.
yes, exactly right. So I'll be interested to see what they do in the second round. But you bring up some good points, and here's the other thing: you're not going to see these super teams anymore. You might see them like for a 1-year flash, like if a team, let's say a big name's available at the trade deadline because they're going to be on an expiring deal. If that guy maybe takes the team over the top and the CBA and what you've done previous to that allows you to go and get them, you might see those circumstances, but I don't think there's going to be an owner in basketball that's going to mess with the different aprons and penalties that come into, having 3 big stars, and you now have Phoenix with 3 big stars.
You're pretty much
sitting
getting
on-
you're getting double taxed on all the money you make from the team because you're getting
100%.
your government tax, and now the NBA wants to tax you.
Well, the NBA always, there's always been the luxury
Well,
tax,
yeah,
but
there-
this is different. You've never had mid-level exceptions go away. The mid-level exception was actually the
that was a
rule.
game breaker.
Yes, that was the rule that changed everything because that allowed the super teams to get better in the middle of the season because they could bring on somebody that was let go out of their contract or had a buyout, and they didn't care what number they were going to get. It'd just be the MLE.
That allowed
and their-
the Warriors that year to get Boogie Cousins.
Absolutely. So that's why the MLE is so important. And in this landscape, it'll be very interesting. It's projected to be right about 12.9 million this year. We'll see what the Kings do with it. I'm interested in that for sure. And I know the Kings scouting group is getting ready to head out for the combine in Chicago. I spoke to a member of that team this morning. So the Kings are doing their due diligence, certainly looking at the guys that are going to be in the draft or at the combine, but also the guys that may not go drafted because the Kings have had some success finding those guys in the past couple of years.
We've had success and we've done a pretty good job. We've had Keon Ellis. I mean, I still don't forgive them for trading away Gabe Vincent, but we did give him his first shot. So we do have an eye for undeveloped talent.
Yeah, no, they absolutely do. Hey, Condog, appreciate the call. Any parting words, buddy?
Any parting word? Actually, you know what? Here, look at how disastrous my Costco pizza was because it was so windy yesterday. Everything was just flying all over.
Oh my gosh.
I barely saved the pizza from falling out of the box, but the cheese and pepperoni was just all over the place.
You know what? I got something for you as soon as I get you off here because I had a Costco experience today, pizza experience that bugged me. So, all right, thanks for the call, buddy. Enjoy the specially seasoned pizza there. All right, dude. Have a good one. That's Condog. He always makes the show better. You know what? He's goofy sometimes. He likes to throw his arms up and all that, but he knows his basketball. I can respect that. I would have that conversation with him. Maybe not on this show, but yeah, maybe like over an adult beverage, talking a few things. Yeah, we could have that conversation. Speaking of Costco, right? I was there today. You can't get out of there for under $100, but usually the damage is way worse than that. It's what, like 300 typically if you do it at the beginning of the month. Well, when you go to Costco, you got to hit the food court. Well, it used to be the Polish dog. The Polish dog was what you went to. And then Costco axed the Polish dog in the food court, right? So then you went back to pizza and you're like, all right, the combination pizza for $9.99, can't beat it, right? What's Costco do? They take away the combination pizza during COVID. So now they've got like these big cookies, and you can get your cheese or your pepperoni if you want half and half. You can do that too. Well, my little man today, I had to take him to the doctors for his post-op. And I did, as parents, sometimes you just get that feeling, and it's like, I just don't want to send my kid to school today. Like, you just get like this weird thing that comes over you, and it's like, I just rather have him with me today. And that's what it was. So I kept him with me. He went to Costco. We did our thing, but he wanted a pizza. We ordered a pizza, and he loves the Parmesan cheese that you put on top. And Condog put a perfect little trailer together for me, because when you get plates, if you're not getting plates and you're getting Parmesan and pepper, you've got to ask them to put it on a plate and then put foil over it. Most people more than happy to do it, right? Well, this guy today at the food court, I mean, I don't know if he was a few pepperoni short of a pizza. I don't know if he was having a bad day, but he was not happy. My son's like, "Can I please have some cheese?" He put like one cheese on the plate. That's like a 99-inch pizza, dude. Give us a couple more. But then we got like 40 peppers. What are we going to do with 40 peppers? And so I was like, "Sir, can we just get a couple more cheeses instead?" And he goes, "Whatever." And he just threw cheese at us. So I don't know whether to be offended or be like, all right, somebody threw cheese at me. I could tell. Yeah, okay, whatever. But yeah, it was a little bit weird. My little man didn't catch on to it too much. But I mean, if you don't like your job, go find something else to do, right? I mean, that's what life's all about. Let's get back to the chat. 10 years ago, Russ was help. I don't know about that. I thought he was a little bit more of a problem. I mean, he helps, but I thought he was more of a problem than a help in OKC. You bring up a funny question. Would you straight up Booker for Fox? Just asking. Beal is washed. Yes, he is. Suns owner said he's keeping the starting five together. I'll believe it when he gets that first tax bill. Progressive, we need a center. Yes, we do. Jerry Reynolds said that many times. I have said that many times. Mr. Napier has said that many times as well. The problem is the Alex Len, JaVale McGee, and I'm going to put them in a box because in some ways they're similar. I think Alex Len is actually a better center than JaVale McGee, but obviously JaVale better above the rim. I'm not going to say around the rim. And Alex gets him with running the floor and such. But that type of center, neither of them can stretch the floor. Sabonis has never really played with a center, a proper center in Sacramento that stretches the floor. You're going to argue Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles is not a proper center. So what did the Kings do to try to find that guy? Is there somebody on the market like that? Could you slide Domas over to the floor? A lot of people say no. And I don't know where I fall on that yet. If you fall on that somewhere, let me know. I'll put it up on the screen. You think of the Lopez's, right? That would be a good fit. Yeah, but the guy that I'm looking at, that I'm really impressed with. So if you want to look at a center tonight, go watch Isaiah Hartenstein tonight. I like the hustle. I like the physicality, and I really like his basketball IQ in terms of running the floor, in terms of understanding the spacing with the group he's on the floor with. So I'm keeping my eye on him. He's going to be a free agent, but it is a great point. Who is going to be the center that comes in here? Doesn't LBJ want to play with Durant and Curry? I have no idea. You would have to ask him. I think we should slide Sabonis to power forward. There it is right there. Well, see, the interesting thing about that is the Keegan argument, because we've talked about it so much, especially last offseason. Should Keegan be at 3? Should Keegan be at 4? Keegan is a natural 3. Keegan needs to be playing the 3 and not the 4. And whatever you can do to slide somebody over, that's what you got to do. Could you imagine? Let's just play with this for a second. What if you had a starting lineup of De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, think about this, Keegan Murray, Domas, and Hartenstein? What's that starting lineup look like? How would that change things in Sacramento? I keep inserting Monk in there because he has not said this. He said he's willing to be a sixth man here in Sacramento, but I can't imagine he has been thrilled about that, especially when so many guys went down at that position and he still never got a start at that position. That is, so back to what Chuck said earlier to start the show off. To me, why isn't that question be asked? What is the reason you don't want him? We're getting bull. Okay. And you're right. Absolutely, Run. It's so hard. They don't grow on trees. The guys you're thinking about, Steven Adams off the bench, if he was healthy. I missed the entire season this year. I love Steven Adams, but the question becomes, what does he have left in the tank? I'd love a beer. Well, get a beer, Condog. I know I talked about an adult beverage, but I can't do that right now. In fact, who's calling me? Roseville is calling me right now. Wonder who that could be. Let's see. Get into some more bad work ethic. Who are you talking about there? Booker for stop. It doesn't work. The way Mike Brown wants to play doesn't work if you take Domas out of it. Domas is the catalyst for that. You couldn't. You could, but are you assuming that there is Monk or no Monk? I guess that would be the follow-up question. I don't think that would fly. I don't like that. Domas and Wemby, that would work. Fox, Monk, Murray, Sabonis, and a center. I just said that. Adam saying yes to the starting five that I laid out there. These are all completely hypothetical. Remember, it is the offseason. It's the time for us to throw this stuff around. But again, the article I wanted to get to with The Athletic, y'all, as we get one more here. Roseville is calling. That might be Bennett's in the Blue Oaks Town Center. You know, Adam, now that you're saying that, it very well might be Bennett's. Actually, I think I know why they would be calling. So thanks for doing that, man. That actually helps. I think it was Bennett's. Do you guys answer calls that you don't recognize? I know the iPhone says spam warning and all that, but I don't really, I try to stay away from them. And if I get one bad one, and here's what's really funny. Here's one that's really, really funny. So I posted my resume on one of the major job sites, and that was simply because there was an opportunity in this field that I was tipped off to and asked if I would have any interest applying for. So I did, but I left my resume up, and I've been getting some of like the more wild people reaching out. So the first one I got was a phone call that said, my boss wants to talk to you. They really like your resume. Can you join our Zoom meeting in 2 days? What? Who are you? I didn't apply for your job. I don't know what your company is. So I Googled the company's name right away. Fraud. Like literally the first thing that came up was Reddit with the exact language that was it was actually a text message. It was a text message after the phone call. And then I got another one where it's like, hey, we think you might be a good fit, blah, blah, blah. And it's nothing in the realm of what I want to do, but it's like, hey, you can connect with us on WhatsApp. Tell me an employer that communicates with job prospective candidates for jobs or their own employees through WhatsApp. Isn't that for people that can't pay their phone bill? Am I mistaken? And the last time I heard, WhatsApp is not the best place to be. No offense if any of you use the platform. I'm not saying it can't be used the right way. It's just a really weird thing to me and foreign. So yes, I have been getting some of those calls. I don't think it was the Roseville Auto Mall, because the dealership that we are working with right now is not in in Automall. So, but we are doing a car thing, and it kind of hurts my heart. Have any of you made the switch from gas to electric? I want to hear from you. Have you given up your gas guzzler and gone electric? Let me know about that transition. How was that? Let's see. WhatsApp is is a must-have for. Okay, so that makes sense. That's a proper use because you don't want to pay the international fees, right? So I get that. When I've gone international, I've had to change my phone plan in the past. So fair enough. See, that's why I posed the question to everybody here. Dang, Ryan, roasting WhatsApp users. Yeah, because every time that I hear WhatsApp, it's usually not, it doesn't have a good story behind it. It's usually a bad story or something unsavory. It's the only thing I've heard. That's why I said, call me wrong. Let me know what you guys think. I've been getting the fake donate to the LA Police Department calls. Saved it as a scam so I can avoid answering now. So here's what we do. If we know a call is fake, especially the ones that are like from Microsoft, right? It's Microsoft calling you. And the call starts off with, hey, you have a computer connected to the internet right now, right? Yeah. Well, is there a safer bet? Like if you were going to cold call somebody and you were going to make a guess about something in their house that you have a computer hooked up to the internet, that is right near the top of the Family Feud list. But anyways, we'll immediately we'll say, oh, we don't have a computer connected to the internet, but let us get you to the person that does. And we hand them to our son. We've been doing that since he could talk. So it's pretty funny to hear those guys kind of squirm and scramble. But yeah, let's see. In America, WhatsApp isn't used much everywhere outside the US. It's very widely used. Good to know. Thank you for educating me on that, Progressive. So I've only known it domestically and not internationally. So it is being used responsibly. I am happy to hear that. Man, we've covered more than a few things already here on the King's Court. We've talked some Kings. We haven't talked, I think we're getting some car reviews. Here we go. I love my Rivian RIT electric truck. Won't go back to on ice. Charging at home is a breeze. I've never heard of that truck. What's a Rivian my screen's about this big on the print because it's separated. An RIT? What is that? Interesting. Okay. Well, I've heard really good things. Really good things. I mean, I've driven Teslas many times before, just never owned one. So it's kind of, doesn't it feel like this way too? It feels like you're giving away your last gas car. Like it's your last, go to the gas station, pump the gas in, but it's impossible. Have you guys seen the price of gas right now, especially for premium? I know it went down, but if you're at $6 a gallon, I had to make an LA trip actually not too long ago. I was getting together. It was at the start of the year. I got together with a bunch of, or a group of the closer Rome listeners to the show and the crew down in LA. And it would have been cheaper to fly. Would have been cheaper to fly if I would have booked my flight in advance. So yes, it's a new startup company called Rivian. Okay. Interesting. How'd you find them? Sorry, I'm asking all these different questions. How did you find Rivian? The RS1 is the SUV. Okay. I saw that there's kind of a competitor overseas that's making a product really similar to Tesla, but I hadn't heard of Rivian. So Tesla is the way that we're going. I'm not trying to drop stuff as like a Delta Bravo here. Like, oh, we're getting a different car. I'm literally telling you because I'm losing my last gas car. And I don't know how I feel about it. I'll never go electric here in Texas. And see, that's the difference. You're exactly right. My buddy's in the Midwest. I have a friend in Texas. Same thing. They're like, we can't wait because one of them was actually here from Texas. And we were riding together. And he's like, I can't wait to get home. I could fill up my car for what you just put like 4 gallons in. Rivian is a rival to Tesla. Okay. That must be the company then. So I probably have seen Rivian. I've just not heard Rivian. Speaking of Tesla, how bent are you? How bent are you if you bought that Plaid Model S or you bought a Model X or a Model Y like a year ago? You got to be bent. Almost maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. You're thinking, oh, okay, well, they hold their value. So Teslas do. They did hold their value until they dropped the prices dramatically. You couldn't be happy for that. I would not be happy. In fact, our financial advisor has the model, the Suede S or whatever it is, Plaid S. Yeah, he was not happy when all that came out, but he loves the car. But I'm going to check out Rivian. I appreciate that information. I do want to get to this really quick before we take off for the day here on the King's Court. Did any of you see, Rhino, look into the hydrogen fuel cell cars, alternative to electric and gas? Well, I don't want to get exotic with it, Progressive. Like, I want to, that's what's kind of held me on the Tesla stuff. I wanted to, I was a stockholder for a while in Tesla. I guess I still am to a degree. I was really following the company closely. I love the product. But I don't know anything else about hydrogen and that stuff. I would, if I'm making that type of investment, I would really want to know a lot about it and not just like, do the osmosis thing where you put your phone under your pillow and you listen to something as you go to sleep. No. Like I want to know everything about it. But yeah, we're seeing some. You love fuel cells. All right, there you go. Bio Willie. What's Bio Willie? Interesting. You guys you're even ahead of me on some of these things. I thought I knew a lot. No, I don't. Bio Willie. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying, Deion Sanders. So you remember he left for the University of Colorado. Certainly, many of you remember the hype train at the beginning of the college football season, right? And it was kind of swept under the bus when under the rug when Deion Sanders arrived at Colorado. Oh, really? Interesting. So what's really fascinating to me about that, Adam, is that the car doesn't run off of cannabis. That is fascinating to me. You just think about it. It could be coming out of the tailpipe, and Willie and his buddies could be having a good time back there. How they have not found a way to do that, but yet they're using corn syrup fuel, that surprises me. Good on Willie, though. Glad to see he's still doing well. But getting back to what I was saying about Deion, when he got to Colorado, he had a lot of guys, and I mean a lot of guys, transfer out. And then as the season got closer, Progressive, I think it's corn syrup. Well, you never know. I mean, if it is, a thick liquid that looks syrupy, it could be a concentrate of something else, Adam. I would put nothing past Willie Nelson or Snoop Dogg. In fact, let's ask this question really quick. Who you got? Snoop Dogg or Willie Nelson? Which one is the bigger connoisseur? I'm not gonna promote anything else. Who is the bigger connoisseur? Because they're kind of the king of the castle of that, right? Like they are the ones that are the president of that culture. So, hey, and it's I'm not going to lie, there are a lot of benefits to that I've seen, especially helping some children as well. Some of the stuff that they can do where the THC is removed. So the CBD only helping kids with cancer, anything like that. And speaking of it, I actually don't. Yeah, we're getting some responses, Snoop. This isn't the forum for the conversation, but I really do want to do a Kings. Really? Okay. Oh, you brought up Cheech and Chong. Good point, Jordan. We can't forget about Tommy Chong. Okay, we'll make this an ongoing discussion on the King's Court. There's probably people we're leaving out. I heard what's the rapper that was married to another, no, not a rapper. He was married to the girl that always like had a bald head. Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa. I heard that man likes to have a good time too. Which leads me in to this really quick. And let's get this up real fast. Predict Brunson will have a big game and close out for the Sixers tonight. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't. I think Brunson's going to have a really good game, but I do think that atmosphere, I think Sixer fan, as much as I hammered them earlier in the show, I think they're going to bounce back, and I think it's going to be a Philly night. Now, to me, then it becomes how? How do the Knicks lose this game? Is it a close game? Is it a competitive game? Is it not a competitive game? But the best thing that I would like to see, because you guys all know, I have the Knicks going to the NBA Finals. So I think they are capable. I think they can win this game. I certainly think they do. I hope they roll over the Sixers tonight because that would tell me something about their mental toughness. It's not easy having a series over. You guys realize it. That series was over for all intensive purposes. And to blow it and then not be able to get it back at the end of overtime, that's a rough one. So I think the first quarter of that game tonight is going to tell you everything you need to know about how the rest of the game's going to go. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. I think it's going to be a race to 100 points. I think you're going to get a huge game from Embiid. And speaking of Brunson, Flores, he's forced a little bit too much at times. And I get he is the guy. He is the man. I respect the hell out of his game and the way he plays basketball. But he's got to not force it. He is at his best when things aren't being forced. And there's other capable guys on that Knicks team. You know, Anunoby, there's plenty of guys that can pick up that load when it needs to be picked up. And so I'm looking for Brunson to maybe get some guys involved a little bit more tonight. DiVincenzo, how about Dante? Jerry talked about that. Terrible fit here in Sacramento. In fact, Dante did not like, he wanted out. He told his agent, get me out of here. But then he goes to the Warriors, doesn't do great, did a little bit better, but look, he's flourishing right now with the Knicks. He's an East Coast kid. He's a Villanova kid. Jerry and I talked about that on Tuesday. So I think he could also be a wild card in this one too. As for the Pacers, and I know we got to get back to Dion and then wrap things up, but as for the Pacers tonight and the Bucks, I don't see any way Milwaukee wins this game, even with Dame back. This has the Pacers written all over it. There is a different look in Evan Turner's eyes. There really is. He has shown me something in this postseason with his composure, the way he's being a leader with that team. I would argue Evan Turner is the leader of that team, not Hallie. So I think they close out tonight in convincing fashion because even if Dame comes back, he's not going to be Dame. Let's acknowledge that. So Deion Sanders comes to Colorado, mass exodus of players. Okay. Well, season starts off, all the hype in the world, right? They knock off TCU. Their defense, their offensive line looked amazing. Shadir Sanders throwing dimes, Travis Hunter all over the floor on both sides, right? All over the floor. I'm saying floor because of basketball. All over the field. So we're like, was this a one-game sample size or is this Colorado team actually special? What do? They follow it up. And before you know it, the eyes of the nation are on Colorado football. Deion Sanders, has he found something new about motivating guys, changing the game? He wanted to change the game, right? Well, it looked like it was going well. And then it fell off the damn cliff. Travis Hunter goes down against Colorado State. They end up, and that was a dirty play. I'm very well aware of that. And they end up losing 8 or 9 games at the end of the season. Now, Deion, no issue with anything up until then. In fact, I thought, and if you didn't look inside of the Colorado football program much, they were doing things much differently It was a very player friendly atmosphere. And in fact, I would almost argue it wasn't a program, it was a business. It was a business model. And it was a business model in this sense. They've got their last names on their practice jersey. They had their last names all over something where you don't usually see last names. They were able to market their own products if they wanted to, if they had NIL sponsorships. There was a lot of freedom. And Dion had some rules, don't go into the team diner or where the cafeteria and not have a shirt on, little things like that. But what I'm saying is when it was good in Colorado, although it was a really short period of time in the grand scheme of things, it was good. And you could see in this college atmosphere where you have a transfer portal, where a team like Colorado running a business as much as they are a program, you could see where that could be very appealing to other players across the nation. And you could see if the way that Dion was running his program, just like the player empowerment in the NBA and in the NFL, you might have even seen that swing to the players in the NCAA had Dion changed the game, right? Well, here's the reality. Another set of transfers head out of Boulder. Many of them not great things to say about how the program was ran. Really felt the program was built around Dion's kids, and that was it. And if you were around that circle, you would somehow get some residual shine, right? Well, not how it worked out for everybody. Some of them spoke to The Athletic, and credit to them, by the way, credit to them. They went on the record. They went on the record. They didn't say an anonymous player that used to play at Colorado. They went on the record and put their names to it, right? Well, Dion ends up, I'm not going to go into the whole story. Dion got into a pissing match, and Shadir got into a pissing match with a player that had transferred out. Comparing that player's qualifications to those of Dion's son. It's bad enough that your son is doing it, but for you to continue following it up, for you to invoke the name of Jesus Christ in a tweet as a sarcastic, funny thing, as you're supposed to be a man of religion. And I'm not questioning your religion, Dion, but it's a fair question because all of your clothes have JC all over the sleeve. And I love that. I am a Christian. I am a believer. He has risen indeed. Okay? But there's some people that are more comfortable putting that out there publicly more than others. Dion is one. Then don't do that on the flip side of things, right? And then it doesn't stop there. He starts LOL, LOL, LOL at this player. He took down, think about this. He literally cut a kid at the knees that just tried to do his best, is trying to do his best. It is a bad look. You want to talk about changing the game, Dion? You have changed the game in all the wrong ways. Don't get me wrong. That stuff happened all the time. Why do you think we called it, or maybe you called it, you hear it all the time in the pros, locker room material? How does that come? It's not always through the media. Many of these guys have relationships with most of the guys on the other teams, right? So it's internal stuff. You might get into a heated argument or have a rivalry with somebody, but you know where it's settled? It's settled on the court. That's where it's settled. Okay. So now you have taken this Colorado football program, which for 4 weeks at the beginning of the football season last year was the talk of the town. It's where everyone wanted to be. Dion is on 60 Minutes, and it's Dion's story about how he came back from some horrific side effects from diabetes, yada, yada, yada. This guy's on the up and up, right? And I get, again, it's one thing to do this behind the scenes. Fight the other to do that to somebody, a student athlete online, and just keep doing it. What level are we playing at? I'm sorry. Is this high school football again, Dion? Do you even care about that program? Or did you only care about putting some shine on your kids' names before they got ready for the NFL draft? Is that a fair question to ask? Because if you cared about the program, then why wouldn't you try to soften the blow, help some of these kids out that are transferring? Why are you bad-mouthing them? Obviously, they had a bad experience with you, and it's one thing if you hear about these experiences maybe here or there, but when you've got 20, 30, 40 different guys with the same story, then you know there's a little bit of smoke and there's certainly a fire. So for Dion to make this so much about his kid, your kid already has a ton of film on tape, buddy. Your kid has been exposed to probably the top-notch training, top-notch rehabilitation, top-notch everything in life, my friend. Everything. To take down a kid who's probably lucky to be playing college football, maybe a kid, and I don't know the answer to this, the first in his family to play college football or play a sport in college. And not that those things matter, but what I'm saying is, what does it benefit you, Dion? Where's the benefit? And when I look at that, I can't find any benefit. All I can find is somebody that's being petty, somebody that is swinging down at people, somebody taking cheap shots for no reason. And Dion, my brother, you have a platform. How many pairs of sunglasses did you sell, Dion? In just that week leading up to, I believe it was the Colorado State game? How many pairs of sunglasses did you sell? And did you remember that? Think about that. Dion was so loved, right, by the media and so on fire with America that he is basically running, I'm going to say the word again, a business through a program. So, to you, Dion, I wish you nothing but the best, man. I wish you nothing but the best with your kids, with the program. I hope it works out. I have no ill will against you, man. I see the comment right now, Progressive. He's funny, though. I agree. Some of my favorite moments growing up were of Dion being flashy. I mean, I had a very, very funny taste for flashy. I liked certain types of flashy and I hated other types. But the type of flashy where it's like, well, if you would have stopped me, that wouldn't have happened. I'm okay with that. You proved yourself. You've earned that. The flashy about giving all of your kids sunglasses and maybe even setting something up with another coach to say something about your sunglasses, because you can't put that out of the realm of possibilities. It's part of business all the time, especially with creators. Think about this. Go to YouTube. Go look at how much on camera, on field, behind the scenes access was filmed this season by individual players on their own YouTube channels that they were allowed to promote on their uniforms. That's what it was. Their last names were not on their uniforms. It was their social media handles. All of these kids were treated like businesses and not students. That is not the NIL rule. And it's certainly not the transfer rule to kick out every single person you want because you want focus to be on other people. Come on, man. And it's not just me that's taking issue with this. Shedeur Sanders, projected to be possibly the number one the number one pick in the NFL draft, or at least the first quarterback taken in the NFL draft. Vegas, of all people, the line changed after all this happened. The line changed because of this. Character is important. And unfortunately, Dion, you're showing the wrong type of character to not just your kids, but also to the rest of college football, the NFL, America, and the world as a whole, Dion. You can have different sides to you, but the different sides that you're playing with are too dramatic. Those don't usually blend together. I would really hope that this gets resolved, and I would really like Dion to put the phone down and pick up the playbook. You think Dion will coach in the NFL soon? He says he's too old for the game to coach grown men who get paid regardless. Anything's possible. With him, anything is possible. And what's so weird about it is if you look at the story of where Dion came from, I was on the Dion train. I wasn't on the Dion train to the degree the media was, but I thought it was really cool. The success Colorado was having. I thought that the way he was marketing his players was really cool. But when you see mass exoduses of players like this, you wonder, is it a play thing or is it a person thing? Is their business not making enough money for you, Dion? What is it? Because I know in fact, I know a real good person. He's actually hanging on my wall right now. He pays out-of-state tuition for his son to be at that school. You know that, Dion? They paid a lot of money to be front row right there this season to see you one time. You know, it's a fraud. You feel like the wool is being pulled over your eyes. So when you see all of the signals, like I said, that something's off there, and then you see a coach go after a player like that online, it just tells you everything you need to know. So I would put nothing past Dion in this sense. He loves his kids. The story of how he built up and how he's been a big advocate of historical Black universities, I think it's great, right? And so when that story rolled over to Colorado, many people thought that it was just going to be more or less it's a press grab, right? It's to try to sell tickets. Your team's not supposed to be good. Try to put us back on the radar in some way or another. But they ended up just flipping things. It was a completely different program than what he was running before. So I hope that changes for the sake of the student athletes. And like I said, put the phone down. And sure, I could totally see him going to the NFL and coaching his son. Why not? He's coached him all the way through thus far. All right, we are going to wrap up, get out of here. So we'll be back at 8 o'clock tonight with Grant doing open forums. Make sure you're back asking questions, having fun. I appreciate all the support from all of you. This has been great. We've got 174 live on a Thursday. Thank you so much for making this your choice for Sacramento sports before your drive home. We will be back tomorrow. Appreciate you, Flores, and I appreciate Condog, Baki, Tedora. Get in there.
Holy moly, Jim Bowley.
And everybody else that has been corresponding through the telephones and through the chats. You guys make this the best. We are going to have a super, super fun show tomorrow. We're going to have a fun show. Did you guys like the ride dose? Because we're going to be doing another one similar to that tomorrow, which I am really looking forward to end the week out. And holy moly, we got through an episode without saying the name of, not going to say it. Hey, go Kings, light the beam. We'll see you back at 8 o'clock on right here. If you don't like that, can't wait for it. Grant will be here. Make it a great afternoon. So long.